NMAP is, and you can learn everything about NMAP here. But in this lecture, I'm going to show you small operations how you can use NMAP for information gathering or other purposes. So let's start working with NMAP. In Kali Linux, it's I think enabled by default, but if it's not, you can install it by using sudo apt-get install nmap. But I already have installed it, so I don't need to install it again. So let's start with basic operations. So nmap can be used to ping or check if a host is or device is up or not. You just have to give the IP address of this device and you can see if it's working or not. For example, if we want to check if my Google server is working or not, for example, the Google server that I using to access information through Google is up or not. So to do this, it's also a ping operation. So we can simply type nmap and then space and then the name of the host that we want to test. In this case, I want to check out my Google server, so I'm going to write www.google.com. So as you can see that nmap has started. It takes some time to scan it, but now the scan is complete. As you can see, it will give us the IP address of the Google server and also the DNS server, reverse DNS record, which is here. So this is how you can access or gather information about the host. For example, if you want to attack certain website, then you can use this to get the IP address of the website or server which is hosting this website. So this is how you can gather information about the host. So this is information gathering over network, which is given by this website a link. You can also access it directly through the IP addresses. For example, if you want to know you want to ping your Google DNS server, so you can simply write nmap then 8.8.8.8. so this is the IP address of Google DNS servers. So let's wait for the execution to happen. As you can see that it gives us that the host is or our DNS server is up, and it scans different ports. I think it scans 1000 ports by default, and then 998 of these ports are filtered or behind firewall, and these two ports which are open HTTPS, which is used for communication, and then remaining resolving, I think is port 53. This is used for DNS servers. So these two ports are open and you can communicate with the server using these ports. Okay, so this is how you can access hosts that are represented by their IP addresses. Now if you want to scan a host in your local network or want to check if there is a host which is available on your network or not, then you can use nmap nmap 192.168. this is my local network. So if I want to ping router, I can use 192.168.0.1, which is the gateway. As you can see that now the result has returned quite quickly because it is in my own local network, and you can see that it has 998 ports which are closed, and then it has 2 ports which are open. So this is how you can ping a host on your local network. Okay, you can also search a range of hosts. For example, nmap 192.168.0.1 until, let's say, you want to test first 30 hosts. That you can define a range, for example 1 till 30, and it will scan all the networks that are active or running in between this range. So it will scan 30 networks, 30 hosts, and then it will return the results which hosts are up and running. So let's start this and wait for it to complete. Okay, now the scan is completed. As you can see that there are certain hosts that are running. So I'm scanning from 1 till 30, and this is my gateway router, which is located at 0.1, which is up, and then I have a host which is a Linux machine, which is, sorry, it's not a Linux machine, it's my phone, which is at 192.168.0.10. Similarly, then I have another Windows machine which is at 11, and I have, sorry, this is my Linux machine, this is my Windows machine which is running on a virtual machine VMware, and then there is another host. So these 5 hosts are up in these 30 ranges. You can also search for a sub range for a subnet. You can do it like this: 1/24. So it will mask the last 24 bits, and it will search inside these bits. So let's start with 16 bits. So now this will mask out the last 16 bits, and then it will search in this subnet. As you can see, we are starting to get answers for different hosts. So I'm going to stop my execution here. So this is you get 0.1, and then 0.10, 0.11, and then 0.30. So it scanned 4 hosts, and then I cancel the execution. So this is how you can search for different hosts in your own network, and you can get their MAC addresses, etc., and different information, which port, for example, which port is open, and then you can use this information for creating your attack vector. Okay, so this is a command line interface for NMAP. NMAP also has a very efficient, what is called a graphical interface. So I'm going to, and it's included in Kali Linux by default. It's called NMAP. So you can write your commands here, which I wrote in previous terminal, or you can select different options from here and try to work around with them. For example, if I want to ping 92.168.0.24, so I'm going to search this subnet with 24 bits, and then I'm going to use a very quick scan because I don't want to waste a lot of time. You can also use a lot of different type of scans, for example, regular scan, quick scan, ping scan, intense scan, but I'm just going to use a quick scan so I get my results quickly. So now the NMAP has started, and it will start searching for host. Okay, now the whole scanning process is done, and you can see that 255 IP addresses were searched and 5 hosts were found active. And these are the hosts that are found active. So 0.1, 0.10, 0.11, 0.13, and 0.30. So now you can get different information about them. You can see that this graphical interface provides a much more useful and easily understandable information, and then you can build on top of this information to attack the victim machine. You can also search for a range of ports. For example, if you don't want to scan for all the ports, you can just scan certain ports. For example, you have to give the arguments -p and then the number of ports. For example, I only want to search for first 100 ports, so I'm going to write it as like this, and then I'm going to search for this IP. As you can see that it cited first 100 ports, and it found out that only 25 port number 25, which is SMTP or email port, is open, and you can use this port for attacking the victim machines. This is how you can define a range of ports that you want to scan. You can also write, if you want to scan all the ports on a machine, you can just write -p- and it will scan all the ports. And you can see that it gives us 3 ports that are open: 25, 902, and then 8999. You can also search for operating system on the running machine. For example, if you want to search which is the operating system on this machine, you can just write -a and then the IP address of the host, and if you press enter, NMAP performs certain tests to identify which type of operating system it is. It may or may not return the correct results, but if it's returned, it's most probably that the operating system is the same that is returned by NMAP. So it's taking a lot of time, but this is how you can use it. It's performing certain tests to determine which operating system it is. So it's taking a lot of time. I'm not going to let this run forever, but this is essentially how you can run it. You can read the documentation about NMAP here. Where is it? This is OS detection. As you can see that this is -O with enable OS detection, and you can give different arguments to it, search for different type of operating system. So that's it for NMAP. See you in next lecture.